I think I owe an apology to whoever made this guitar. In the previous video, I said that the top was cardboard with a photograph glued on top of it. I don't think that's true. When I took the top off, it didn't come apart like cardboard. It came apart like real wood. So the two places I'm worried the most about, I think, are where the neck joins the body at the top. I think those areas are pretty fragile. So what I'm going to do is be really careful around those areas. I took some off the bottom around the bottom and the sides a little bit just to see and to help prep for the removal of the top with the heat gun. What I plan on doing is starting on this area down here because I figure if I scorch the wood, I could put a bevel there. And I thought about putting a bevel there anyways, just filing a nice flat bevel there. So if I do scorch the wood, I can just grind it away and make a bevel, and it won't be that big of a deal. But that's where I'm going to start with the heat. First, I want to say that the heat gun did work, but there are some problems with using the heat gun. One is the glue stinks really bad, and I set off the fire alarm about 25 times. I set the temperature at about 400. That didn't really work, so I cranked it all the way to its max setting. Well, that didn't work either because basically the top of the guitar started to smoke, and it looked like it was going to just burst into flames. And then the fire alarm went off, so that wasn't very good. So what I did was I backed it down, the temperature. It looks like about 750 degrees was the ideal temperature. And it took me a while to figure that out. After about, 10 tries or something, it looked like 750 degrees was giving me the best results. And, 750 degrees on this heat gun, who knows what temperature that really is. Could be 1,000, could be 300, I don't know. If I was going to do this again, here's how I would do it. I would recommend that you get a stopwatch, any kind of stopwatch, your phone, whatever. You hit start and you put your heat gun on a small area, like 2 inches by 2 inches. Just move it back and forth. Don't put it in one place. You'll start to see results at about 2 minutes, I think. But give it 3 minutes. Just go back and forth. The veneer would blister and form this bubble. And then after I got that part working, a lot of times I'd take a break because it smelled really bad. I would do this in a really well ventilated area. Maybe even use like a filter mask with like charcoal filters, like a really good one. A lot of glues are made with cyanide. I don't know what I was breathing in. It couldn't have been good. I don't think it was cyanide. Maybe it was. I don't know. I'm still alive, but it stunk really bad. And I would do this in a outside or in a really well ventilated area. Also, it gets really hot, and sometimes little things like crack and pop and go flying through the air. Little hot bits of wood and plastic. So wear eye protection. I would wear gloves. It doesn't have to be welding gloves, but just some decent gloves. And don't touch anything because it doesn't look like it's hot, and it's hot. And then you touch it and it's sticky and sticks to your fingers and it's hot. So I did that a couple times and it wasn't very good. My advice is to start with the banding. Those delicate areas I was worried about, save those for last. But so you hold the heat gun on the band, and what happens is after about 30 seconds, it'll kind of like crackle and pop. And when it does that, you can see that it splits away from the body. It wants to kind of expand and buckle away. And so if you just start at the pointing the heat gun straight at the banding and then move to the top, and you can melt the glue from the top and from the side. Eventually, it just kind of wants to pull away by itself. So what you can do is if you cut it, or if you You'll see it. You can kind of pry it away, and the banding gets real soft and kind of like a like a marshmallow, kind of gooey. You can grab with some pliers and pull it away. And if you just take the heat gun and while you're grabbing the banding with one hand and the heat gun with the other, just heat it up and pull it away slowly, and it just kind of unwinds around the guitar body. But if you're really patient, you can just do the banding kind of in one big shot, just all the way like around half of the guitar. I used a chisel. I just took the point of a chisel. I heated up the top. The top would melt. I would put the chisel under between the wood and the plastic, and I would work the plastic away. And you can see it. The plastic comes away. It's like peeling off a sticker or something. But then the bottom half is still stuck on there. So once you get the top pulled away, you can then put the glue or the heat gun on the side, heat it up, and then you can just pull it away. Once you get the banding off, then you can focus on the top veneer. Just heat up an area, let it blister, let it bubble. Especially if you're on an edge, get that edge up first so you get something under it, like a chisel or screwdriver or whatever, some kind of knife. And then once you have a little bit up, then you can keep working your way all the way around. And eventually you'll see, after you do it like 4 or 5 times, you'll see it's pretty easy. So you just work your way around the whole thing. But what I did was around the controls was I didn't let it heat up enough, and I did pull away some wood, and you'll see that in the picture, which didn't affect the outcome. It still looks great, but I had to do a lot more sanding than I probably should have, let's put it that way. With a heat gun, I was able to take the whole top off, and as you can see in the video, this is what it looks like. It was pretty ugly. There was a lot of glue residue. It worked. Top came off. It took about 2 hours. I would probably do like 10 minutes at a time and then take a break for another like 5-10 minutes and then go back. But overall, I would say, like, if you just sat there and did it in a well-ventilated area with like a good like breathing filter on, and you could do it straight through, you could probably do it in a half hour. That's basically it. The top came off. I started sanding. I got some 60 grit sandpaper. I sanded for about 45 minutes. There were some, I guess, gouges, and that's visible in the video. Overall, I think I spent just getting the surface back to normal wood. It took me about an hour. This is after about an hour of sanding with 60 grit, and then another 15-20 minutes with 100 grit sandpaper. And as you can see, it's starting to dry. I took a microfiber cloth and I soaked it, and then I just wiped off the top with water to see, get a better idea of any of the sanding flaws and what needed to be done. And you can see it's kind of drying in real time here. Now, it's not perfect. It's far from perfect, but for the most part, I'm really happy with this. It's about what I expected, so it's looking really good. The next thing to do is, at some point soon, I have to focus on these areas right here. So these areas here and here, I have to sand those by hand because they're super delicate, and make sure that I get that rounded off completely. And then I can use a rasp the rest of the way around on this routed little shelf where the banding went, and basically clean up that plastic residue off of there. This is what it's looking like right now. So as you can see, the part where the pickup selector switch was, well, they routed that out inside to be much thinner. So while I was sanding, basically I sanded through that little bit. But like I said before, that's fine. Actually, these holes here for the potentiometers are pretty good. They still have plenty material left there. They'll be plenty strong to mount the pots. This area here, I'm just going to take I think what I'm going to do is just take a strip of copper bar, about maybe 1/8 of an inch thick, and and screw it in, and then cut the slot for the lever. And I may just cover this whole area with one slim piece of wood. Get like an 1/8 inch what would you call that, sheet, an 1/8 inch sheet of some wood. I'm thinking Padauk would look really good still. It depends. I'll have to see what it looks like when I get to that point. I think I'll put a layer of some kind of a finish on here. I am also pretty sure I'm going to stain it black and then sand that off to make the grain pop a little bit more. I love the way it looks now, but I want to bring out the green just a little bit more. So I think I'm going to do that. Okay, so this is what the body looks like with everything rounded off. All the routes with the banding are gone. Everything's sanded over. These areas here, the delicate areas, are done, and everything is rounded and sanded down to 100 grit. It's looking pretty good. Not flawless, but it's looking good.